So we're all in here, and I've sent the add guests thing. I went live first just in case that was an issue. We've got 3 minutes. Summer, are you there? It's like a shisha pipe. I love it. Probably shouldn't be saying that. That's exactly what it reminds me of, a shisha pipe. Laura, why don't you try joining to check you can still join? To make sure it's not a problem my end. My lips are 2 different colours. When I put lipstick on, I can really see the bottom one's darker. You see? Is it just me? Am I just imagining that? I'd love to get lip filler in my top lip, just a little bit. What do you think, Solly? Right, we've got 1 minute. Somebody join for the love of all things holy. Or I'll have to start crying. Or write me a message. Tell me what to do. Popok joined. That's exciting. What, the Popok? So where's Summer?
She's saying she can't get in.
Oh!
There she is.
Yay!
Hey!
Yay!
What was going on?
It.
Do you know?
Well, am I too loud?
Huh?
Am I too loud? Usually I'm too quiet.
Yeah, you're low.
Okay, hang on. When I sit back, am I too loud? Because I want to sit back and do what I need
You're
to do.
good, but can you turn your mic up?
How's that?
I can hear you. I can hear
How's
you good.
It's
I
good.
can hear you guys too.
Yep, I can hear you good. Right. Well,
My
ladies,
God. Don't
have you
ask.
seen the time?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's right on time, my friend.
Are we ready?
I am ready.
Really.
You start us off there, Mama, and then we'll go. You just tell me when to
It's
go.
time,
Okay?
isn't it?
Okay, well, it is midnight in Paris. Gonna have to just say that for the next 2 weeks.
That's awesome.
And I am Mama, and we are live because the cafe is open. And
Hello, everybody.
Summer
We got
and
4 folks in here in our thing.
Laura are with me today. I have Summer from Canada and Laura from the US, and this is our weekly reaching out across the Atlantic to give
Maggie, come here.
the perspective of 3 middle-aged women looking at the crazy that's going on, usually in the world, but we seem to be focused on one country. I'm pointing that way because that's how it's displayed on my screen.
Poor Laura.
Giving us material. It's good. What would we do without the
Wait a
USA?
minute. What? But hey, I don't blame you.
Yeah. So
I gotta go let the dog out.
Ladies, I don't know if you've heard, while Laura's letting the dogs out, I don't know if you've heard, Summer, there's a bit of fisticuffs going on, but it's just an excursion. It's not a war.
Yeah,
Laura, have you heard?
Have I heard that?
Fisticuffs cuffs in the Middle East, just an excursion, not a war.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, now it depends on who you talk to or listen to.
Or in what sentence it's
or
in.
what part of the sentence?
Now,
Not
Mark
even the
Wayne
whole
Mullins will tell you it's a war, and then he'll say it's not a war, and they'll say, "But you just said it was a war," and he said, "Well, that was a misspoke."
Yes.
Yes, and then he said it was both a war and an excursion, and
Oh,
you know he
brother.
might have a point because it's a war and a fishing expedition all in one.
Yeah, absolutely. And he said it's a war for them, but for us it's an excursion. And I am praying. I heard a few people today saying, does he mean incursion? Which is what I was saying all day yesterday. And I hope so.
That's what he.
I hope he's
don't think
just
it's
got
slip of the tongue. I think it's his arrogance. I think
You'll
it's
never admit it.
that he can use his military to do whatever he wants in the world, to have
Right.
whatever he wants in the world for his own interest, and there's nothing anyone or anything can do to stop him because the pillars in the United States have failed to do so far. So
Right.
he just keeps testing and testing and testing.
That's it.
Iran is just, in my view, an
Mhm.
excursion to figure out how the world's going to react, what's going to happen.
Incursion.
To him. Is
And
his own
even
country
if-
going to stop him? Right?
Even if he picked the wrong word and he meant incursion, you know, forevermore it's going to be an excursion.
Excursion.
Because just saying, oh no, got the words muddled, I meant incursion, it is never going to come out of his mouth.
Crazy times.
So I actually
think-
don't know if it's a misspoke or not. I think it
Right.
might be his arrogance.
Here's how.
And it's an excursion to see what happens. Like if nothing happens, oh good, then I have other targets that I want to acquire. And he's already
Well,
used
yeah.
that.
I heard that a lot of people think he went in expecting to do the same thing he did in Venezuela, but only it didn't go so well for him this time.
Yeah, me too. So Laura, tell us more. What's going on in the US? What are the media, the people, the
Well-
administration saying?
Same old shit, really, same old shit. But I've been doing some detective work because inquiring minds want to know what was his motivation behind this, right? So the first thing I ran across was an article about a dude named, let me find him, a seat merchant, and he was arrested here in the States in July of 2024. Let me find my article, and I've got the actual court document of, I don't know if it's his bail hearing or exactly what it is, but let's see.
I would
Okay.
love to
So-
pretend I know where you're going with this.
So, dude was, let's see, this document is dated July 17th, 2024. This guy, a slave merchant, he comes into the States, he hooks up with some characters to plan an assassination of U.S. officials, including Donald Trump. Okay? Shut up. And so guess when Mr. Merchant, okay, he was arrested in 2024. Guess when he was convicted?
Was it recently?
It was recently. It was the 6th. It was the 6th. And so his trial would have had to have been going on for some time before that, right? So I wonder if, Donald Trump was apparently a key figure in that targeting. Of him being targeted. No, ma'am. Come on, dude. So it made me wonder, okay, well, because he kept saying, well, I got him before he got me. Shut up, Ted. I'm sorry.
It's
I
okay.
didn't know what to do with these guys. They were perfectly fine.
They want to be involved.
Huh?
They want to be involved.
They don't want mommy to be involved is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyhow, so So then I started wondering, well, maybe that triggered Donald Trump, his fear of, are there more? Are they coming to, spring their friend? Who knows? I don't know. But that was one thing I ran across that was just so very coincidental. Teddy, stop.
Because we did have mutterings in amongst all the other reasons why we done it. We had mutterings of assassination attempts on Trump, and I thought, well, where's that come from?
I didn't hear any of that.
It's really not like him to hide those things, though. I mean, he says
Oh, he would have
heard out loud. Like,
agreed.
he doesn't know how not to say the quiet part out loud, quite frankly.
He would be glad to tell everybody if he was another target of I think he wears that last one like a
His ear piercing?
purple heart, more or less, a purple ear. And
so where's his support coming from at the moment, Laura? The people, the MAGA faithful, the administration, anyone?
Trump's
for the war.
So I think only from his sycophantic Republican Congress and his cabinet. There's still the occasional MAGA, just extremist that believes everything Trump says and Trump can do no wrong. We still have those, but they're getting fewer and fewer. I hear more and more of people saying, boy, were we wrong. Boy, was I wrong when I thought he was going to work for us. He said he was going to work for us, but
my heart breaks.
See how it happened too, because
I mean, my heart really breaks for people who voted for him for that reason.
Yeah. And now, they're bound to carry a level of guilt for getting us into this. But,
and how are Faux News handling all this? Faux, F-A-U-X, Fox News.
For one thing, when we had what do they call it when they send the soldiers home?
The dignified transfer.
When we had the dignified transfers, I'm sure you all know by now, Trump would not take his hat off, his merch hat, his USA merch hat, and he insisted on wearing that. And there's even a picture of him like looking down his suit, like somebody said he's checking his diapers.
I saw that.
And right in the middle of the ceremony. I mean, couldn't that wait? Really?
How did Fox deal with that? What did they say?
What they did was air a clip from like I guess it was his first Trump 1.0. During that term, they aired a clip from a dignified transfer from then where he wasn't wearing his hat and he looked all reverent and appropriate. Right?
No.
And honey, they got called out so quick. I mean, did they think nobody would notice that? Really?
That's
when all the other stations are airing him with his stupid ass hat on. So
and are all the administration, all the Republicans in Congress, are they all behind this war?
Well, they're starting to bail little by little. We're getting them. We've got we had a California Senate Republican who changed his party line to independent.
Wow.
I don't know how independent he's really going to be. He said, I'm changing it to independent, but I'll still caucus with the Republicans. That's what he said.
That sounds like having a cake and eating it too.
It really does, doesn't it? Right. And let's see, we've got there's several that are either not running again and are speaking out finally, and that's what it takes for them to feel free to speak the truth, is to not run again, because they don't want to incur the wrath of Donald Trump and blow up their and him primary them essentially in the election. And
and probably of most interest to me are the right-wing podcasters, the what are they called? Megyn Kelly and Rogan and InfoWars guy, whatever his name is, Alex Jones. How are they reacting? How are they responding?
Joe Rogan recently was I hear about Joe Rogan was recently was mortified by Trump, just saying, you know, I can't remember what he said. Did y'all hear? Did you hear what Joe Rogan said? It was something like, I just didn't know, or you know, we were duped, or something like that.
Yes, it was.
Wasn't
He was very upset about his decision to go against his campaign promises,
right?
particularly going into another war.
Yes.
That's the gist of that part of it.
And
Uh,
how's it being received in Canada, Summer?
Initially, Mark Carney, you could say, did not write a blank check. Okay, so you have to understand that Mark Carney, I'm learning more about him because he was not a long-term politician from a party per se.
Yeah.
When he became in charge of the Liberal Party, he virtually did so to save our country. And he's a technocrat to a T, but he is also a very personable man. He's a very likable man. And part of the reason he is likable is because he just says what he means and means what he says. But he does so in a very, very amiable way. If you listen to his Davos speech, he has effectuated exactly what he had intended that speech to mean. So he didn't just stand at a podium and give a speech. He actually stood behind that speech and has been working to build, and this is the part that blows my mind. In the short time he has taken office, he has built a 1.5 billion person population of support, like their leadership support, across the world, excluding the United States of America, should Donald Trump continue to subvert democracy and continue to try to take Canada through economic wars. In less than a year, 1.5 billion allies. Like,
he's not messing about, is he?
No, he's not. He has done that very quickly. And I'll say something about this. He did not write Donald Trump a blank check, and he got a little bit of criticism, although his popularity went up. I'll tell you about the polls, like, quite specifically. I have to read those because I don't have them all memorized. But he quite specifically said that essentially the objective of avoiding nuclear proliferation was in Iran was a mutual feeling between Canada and the United States. However, as early as the 8th of the month, he had conversations with the president about de-escalation and peace talks. And of course, without any kind of consultation whatsoever, Donald Trump decided to strike Iran in a hot war, whatever you want, whatever kind of excursion he wants to call it. It is a hot war.
It is.
Thing happened to the United States of America, it would be a war.
Of course it would.
That's the beginning, middle, and end of it.
The 8th of February?
Sorry?
Did you say the 8th of February?
No, March.
Oh, March.
As early as late as the 8th of March of this year.
He had already struck
spoke with the President of the United States with regard to Iran specifically and reducing tensions in the Middle East.
But we had already
emphasized the reduction of the tension through peace talks. And while those peace talks were going on, just a couple days later, he ends up bombing Iran without even talking to any of his other allies. Yeah. That is exactly how I see Trump as thinking. So let's get back to how Carney thinks, because we've got to a little bit. So initially he had said that he didn't outright reprimand Trump for doing what he did, but he did say that he believed that didn't believe that it was comporting with international law. Now, he's a technocrat, so he would look at the law, he would look at what he did, and he would make a statement of that nature. He can't say that Iran is a great place with great leaders. They have great people. Let's be very clear. The United States has amazing people, and I support the people in the United States. I support the people in Iran, right? I do not support war, and I do not support this war, period. Okay, that doesn't mean I don't love my friend Laura and many other Americans. I do. I very much do. But I don't believe that this was the right move, nor has there been any evidence provided to anyone in the public realm, unless anyone can correct me, with regard to Trump having, or his anybody in his regime giving an explanation as to why this was an exigent circumstance that required the bypassing of the UN and the bypassing of all of his allies and the bypassing of the rule of law, essentially. He bypasses the rule of law because that's exactly what he wants the world
It's
to
just
do
easy.
and to get away with. Right? Okay, so let's move on. Carney then has stated quite sincerely and very, very straightforwardly that Canada will never, he's a technocrat, never engage in this war.
As well, they shouldn't.
No. So for
I mean,
people
why would anybody join a
concerned
war
about
when
whether or
nobody
not,
knows we're fighting them? Right?
so on March
Wow.
10th, 2026, Carney explicitly stated that Canada, quote, will never participate in the offensive against Iran.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
That's very clever wording as well. They will never participate in the offensive against Iran. That
Right,
leaves the
because,
door open for defensive action.
Right. But
well, that's right, but the offensive against Iran also says something else. That it's a brilliant wording because it also states something really important. It puts Donald Trump as the offensive.
right.
Exactly.
He puts him on the offensive. He
Yeah.
puts him as the instigator of the
He is.
kinetic action, as said by
The
some
excursion.
Exactly. The
the
excursion.
kinetic excursion. I can't even laugh at that. That is so awful for me to even laugh at that ridiculousness.
I know.
Because on the
I
other
know.
end of it, there are hundreds of children who have already died because by accident, apparently, the United States bombed a school of children. Now, could you imagine if that happened to American children, where
Right.
the news would be, where faux
Oh,
news would be?
right.
I'm pretty sure it'd be in a different place. And I'm sorry, but a child is a child is a child. And
Well, now,
each,
to be fair, our news cycle has been mortified by that. I
okay,
don't know what you've been watching, but I mean,
I
yeah.
saw Senator Kennedy, who I don't normally associate with being one of these liberal left lunatics. I'm absolutely heartbroken because he
Right.
was coming to the conclusion that this was
Yes.
the US Tomahawk.
Right. Yeah. And our
Amazing.
news has been giving them hell about it. I'm sure faux news has a whole different spin on that, and it's giving them every out. I can't go and listen to
I
nonsense.
had the privilege of listening to Laura Ingraham earlier, and it was, oh my God.
See, I
Don't.
thought about changing my name to Laura Not Loomer or Ingram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, don't. It was awful. It
Is
was
she
the most
insane?
ridiculousness. It's a show of strength. They imminent threat.
Did she mention the schoolgirls?
No, but she did mention how Donald Trump has in fact saved the world.
She's drinking too much
From
Kool-Aid,
what?
that woman.
From perceived
what?
enemies. Yeah, I don't know. They were this close to doing the thing, and if
Okay,
they'd done
so-
the thing,
In Canada, there's like kind of a little joke, right? It's like being invited to a bar fight by your biggest, craziest friend. And Carney, of course, is the guy getting invited. And he's like saying, like, yeah, I totally support your right to be angry, but I'm going to stay home and fold my laundry, okay, dude?
Exactly.
I love
All
that
right, the
Canadian
other-
sense of humor.
The other big thing going on right now is the impending trade talks with Kuzma. Canada, U.S., Mexico. I know we all say it in different orders. I think it's the U.S., Mexico, Canada agreement in the United States, but Canada obviously puts Canada Kuzma. So right now, like I told you earlier, Carney is currently collecting trade deals like the rare holographic Shizards. Now, does anyone know what those are?
Are they Pokemon?
They are Pokemon. There's the woman with 2 kids.
What 12-year-old boy? That's what done it for me.
Charizards. Why? Because Trump is threatening tariffs, basically a giant Canada tax on everything we sell to the United States. So Carney's strategy literally is diversify or die. So he's trying to lock in Kuzma, the don't break up with me deal. He's fighting to keep the existing North American trade deal alive so Trump doesn't scrap it. The UK-Canada trade, since he used to live in London, he's trying to polish off a final deal with the Brits. Indo-Pacific ties, he's flirting with countries like Vietnam, Indonesia to make sure if the US shuts the door, Canada has other friends to play with. And why is he doing this? Because if Canada relies 100% on a moody US administration, our economy could tank. Carney wants economic sovereignty, which is a fancy way of saying I don't want Canada to be Trump's piggy bank.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And then I have a whole list of sources. I'm going to post all of this up in my Substack so that everyone can actually read and click on the sources. When it comes to the Liberal Party right now, we have several parties. First of all, it's not like the United States where you've got the odd independent floating around, like when you don't like something and you want to appear as though you're doing something across the floor all the way halfway to the independent aisle.
Right.
We do have crossing the floor, but we have several parties. We have the Liberal Party, Conservative Party, NDP or New Democratic Party, the Bloc Québécois, the Green Party, and the People's Party. Now, just so that you understand the current lay of the land, before Trump became the next up for being president when he was reelected. Some say that should be in contest, but he was reelected according to Kamala Harris's campaign, who accepted that.
Yep.
We were struggling. We were going to be going with Pierre Poilievre, who was our progressive conservative. I call him Polly Want a Cracker because he tends to just repeat whatever Trump says. So his last name is Poilievre. So I call him Polly Want a Cracker.
Every time she says,
I don't like the ignorance that he tends to get behind when it comes to the MAGA movement. Maple MAGA came into that, and although he has tried to separate himself from that now, he was very much not separating himself from that before Mark Carney came on the scene and was an actual contender to run a country.
Interesting.
Right? Mark Carney, just for anyone who isn't aware, ran the Bank of Canada, kept Canada's head above water through the 2008 financial crisis, said no to a lot of the illegal, in my view, and terrible banking practices that were being accepted in other places, including the United States. And we kept our head above water. We're obviously impacted by world economy no matter what, but we didn't drown quite as much as a lot of other folks did. And we were very fortunate to have had him running the Bank of Canada at that point in time and having the backbone to just say, no, that doesn't make sense. We're moving on. Right. And that's how he thinks. That's how he is. Like, it was a massive decision, but it was a very simple one in his mind. He then went on to run the Bank of England for a period of time through Brexit, and he came back into Canada, and the Liberal Party was very much struggling with Justin Trudeau. I really was having difficulty myself with Justin Trudeau for many, many very valid reasons, a lot of ethics reasons, a lot of just ridiculousness reasons. Our economy, just not thinking ahead, not seeing ahead, not doing the things that need to be done. Like more or less saying, oh my gosh, Trump is like this, but not understanding what Canada needed to do in order to make sure that he didn't have the leverage. Whereas Mark Carney wouldn't do any of those things. He just came in and said, okay, this is what needs to be done. So far, he's collecting approximately 1.5 billion people for an economy that will and can exclude the United States if necessary. I'm not saying that would be what we want to happen, because we don't. And I'm not saying that's what he wants to happen, because he doesn't. Mm-hmm. But we want to make sure as a world that all of us can survive.
Well, Trump wants to isolate himself and be a dictator. That's what happens to dictators.
Well, he wants to own everything, right? Yeah, he wants to own everything.
The Western Hemisphere, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, he
Yeah,
can't.
we're all in his sphere of influence.
Right.
He can't own everything.
That's
He
exactly
can't.
right.
In fact, he can't own anything
Mhm.
if you really want to think about it. We're all only here for a short period of time, no matter what we buy, lease, or own.
Yeah, all those
We're
he ain't
really
gonna
just
take the
leasing.
original stuff with
We're
yours.
really just leasing for a period of time, a fixed period of time that we don't know what the term is.
Absolutely.
So for Liberal Party in Canada, we have between 44 and 49% support for Mark Carney, depending on the poll and the time. Conservative Party, we have 30 to 35%. You could have flipped that around and made the Liberal Party even lower when Justin Trudeau was toward the end of his tenure.
Mhm.
The NDP party is like 9 to 11%, so it's really not the strength it used to be. The Bloc Québécois in Quebec is 6 to 8%. The Green Party is somewhere around 5%, and the People's Party is somewhere around 4%. So that those will make up our parliament, which would make up the House and the Senate in the United States. So that's kind of how that works. Right now, Mark Carney is preferred as the prime minister by 57%. Polywana Cracker is at 22%. So people are not necessarily against conservatism, because you can see that Polyev is a very unpopular leader, even for the Conservatives. The Conservatives between 33 and 35%, if you recall. His popularity is at 22%. Okay, so you got people who aren't taking him into consideration when they're telling you that they're conservative voters. And there's nothing wrong with that. I personally have voted conservatively, I've voted liberally, I've voted any way that I needed to, as long as the person at the ballot had the resume to do the job and the character behind that resume. Those are the two things that I care about, because those are the two things that can get the job done. And this left and right and center and all of this other crap is just that. I want to know what you're going to do. I want to know that you have the capacity to do it and you have the character to actually do what you say you're going to do.
And Summer, are your views quite representative of Canadians? How do they feel? Because they've had to get through the nonsense of the 51st state bonkersness, and now are you being impacted by the oil problems?
Well, I will say, yeah, of course our gas prices are going up. They go up every day. So it's like, from a practical level, our stuff in our grocery stores are going up, and the gas pumps are going up. We're feeling the pinch just like everyone else is feeling the pinch. So there has been an effect, though, and that effect has actually played out in our parliament, which would be like playing out in the House or the Senate in the United States. And what has happened in our parliament is, since Carney has taken office, four people from Conservative and NDP parties have crossed the floor to join his party, and now he's almost a majority leader.
Wow.
He's within 2 seats, so he only needs 2 votes from anywhere to get something through. So when he's in negotiations with Trump in the United States and trade and everything else, he has that as in his back pocket. And what I can say is that's unusual. That's unusual to see people from completely opposite parties coming to the leader and saying, yeah, we're going to join you because we know we need to meet this moment as a country, and we need to make sure that you can make and effectuate this plan, because his plan is brilliant, and it's probably more action in making Canada genuinely sovereign than we have seen in my lifetime.
Right.
That's incredible.
Right? And we've seen that in a year. So from a Canadian perspective, this country is pulling together. We have advertisements for our military on our TV every single day. We have advertisements for people who may not meet military requirements to join a civilian corps of people who understand different, let's say, strategies.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. So
wow.
We have people that are learning how to fly drones and how to use those types of things, and how to, I'm not going to get into any more details, but I don't think it would be very intelligent to get into too much detail. But essentially, we have a country that's coming together. And I honestly don't like thanking the Trump regime for anything. But if there's something that I can thank him for, It was bringing Carney to the head of our country
Mm-hmm.
and then having him lead us forward to something that is genuinely independent and also liberates a whole lot of other nations who might have felt the same kind of pinch.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So when
exactly what I was thinking.
I'm saying it from a Canadian perspective, but if you think of the 1.5 billion people that are represented by the people that Carney is making these deals with, you have a massive base of people who are supported by each other from all countries all over the world. And honestly, that is how the world, I mean, it's sort of a Western way of looking at an indigenous ideology of us all being one, that this is one tapestry. And when something happens in one place, it impacts all of us. And that's
So
the same
much.
for our land and for our people and all of those types of things. So when you talk about left and right and all of that kind of stuff, and people get so angry and enamored and just like hateful, um, there's corruption literally everywhere. If you look at the Epstein files, there's corruption everywhere. I have investigated sex crimes for years, and I don't care what side of any kind of podium you're on. There's people within any party, any administration, anywhere that you're going to have some issues with, and some of them are going to be some pretty sick issues if you read the Epstein files.
Yeah.
So the way I see it is when you're choosing a leader, whether it's to lead your party, to lead your country, to lead your city, to lead your town as a mayor, whatever it is that you're choosing. If you're choosing the person to run your PTA, it's important that the person has character, that they're going to do what they say they're going to do. And it does not really matter whether or not they once voted for Trump or didn't vote for Trump. What matters is where they're at now.
Absolutely.
And what matters is where they would like to go.
And
right?
I want to make sure that we shout that from the rooftops, that inclusivity, that you are welcome. We do not care. We do not judge. If you want to be part of the solution, you are welcome.
Do you know what a Shajard is?
Yeah. It's cool. I did have to say I downloaded Pokemon Go onto my phone and was guilty of sitting on the bus playing it, catching Pokemon as I went around my local area.
What I found really funny about it, I'm wearing my orange shirt because of it. Right, my orange fire breathing shirt. It's a massive orange fire breathing dragon-like creature that is widely considered the most iconic and valuable character in the entire franchise, of course, besides Pikachu.
So, I think he's one of Liam's favorites.
Yeah, he's like so the card is obviously worth high value, and Canada is really lucky to have pulled that from the deck right at this particular moment in time, in this time of social crisis. Now we're going to face a lot. I have a whole thing with the promise that is meant to help people in those struggles to understand, we have a lot of infrastructure that's going in. We have a lot of jobs that are going to be created from that. If you're losing a job over here, if you're willing to travel, how do we get you over there? And all of those types of things, like some very practical ideas with regard to how we can function as a nation and move our people to where they can be the most prosperous and where it can help our country be the most prosperous. Because right now we are going to see small businesses struggle. We are going to see a lot of different things, cutbacks in government, different things like that, because we're trying to support, obviously advancing our military, advancing our spending in our defense, and training our civilians so that we have suitable defense. It may not be American style defense, but it will be defense.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I might ask you to tell us a little bit more about the promise when we come back to points of light at the end, so we can just try and put the conflict in a proper context and find a way of keeping moving forward, because sometimes it can seem very, very dark. But in the UK, we've had similar experiences, but we've decided, so you've got all in the US, you've got absolutely hell no in Canada, and in the UK we've had the lawyer in charge. So initially we said no, we're not joining the US and the Israeli offensive strikes. That was the official House of Commons statement. Then that was the 1st of March. Then we would engage in a defensive capacity only. Our forces are active and British planes are in the sky as part of coordinated regional defensive operations to protect our people, our interests, and our allies. Then, within a day or two, we do not believe in regime change from the skies. That was a direct message to you cannot bomb your way to where
Right.
you say you're trying to get.
But that's
Then,
not right either. So
yeah, then the lawyer comes out with the legal foundations for our decisions. Any UK actions must always have a lawful basis and a viable thought through plan. We all remember the mistakes of Iraq, and that was in last week's PMQs, not yesterday, a week last Wednesday. We have been getting a little bit more involved, and we have had to, because as you know, there was a drone strike on the Cyprus airbase, the British airbase in Cyprus, Akrotiri, which is UK territory. So Starmer did invoke Article 51 of the UN Charter, which is personal self-defense, and our armed forces minister confirmed that we would be on ready for full-scale operations. And in response to the Orange Oompa Loompa, I have a lovely quote from Starmer. In response to Trump saying Starmer was not Churchill, he said, President Trump has expressed his disagreement with our decision, but it is my duty to judge what is in Britain's national interest. Starmer did not back down, which I was very pleased to see.
Mm-hmm.
But we have the loons, as I like to call them. And that's no disrespect to people who are actual lunatics. We respect you and we welcome you. But these are just card-carrying bonkers. What have we got? We've got on the 28th of February to the 9th of March, the approach from the right wing, let's just call them, has been bomb them all, as you would expect. So what have we got? We should do all we can to support the operation. The gloves need to come off. We need to accept that we're part of this with the Americans and the Israelis. We have to get rid of this regime. I make that perfectly clear. That's coming from the deputy leader of the Reform, or as I call them, far-right party. We would be helping the Americans and the Israelis in any way they saw appropriate. That's Nadim Zahawi. He used to be on the far-right light Tory party, but now he's moved, I believe he defected to the far-right full-on, full-fat version, Reform. And we've also had the leader of the opposition screeching at Keir Starmer that we are jeopardizing the special relationship. And then yesterday stands up in PMQs and asks 6 questions on a possible, you only get 6 questions. She asked all 6 questions on a possible that we've got a duty on fuel and it's being held. It's got a freeze on it. The freeze on fuel duty is what I'm trying to say. In September, that's going to be looked at to see whether we can maintain the freeze on fuel duty or whether fuel duty has to go up and thereby might increase petrol prices. And she used all 6 questions this week to ask about that thing that may or may not happen in 6 months' time. That was That was the most pressing issue. That was very much a don't look over here, look over there, dead cat, and all the rest.
Wow. Charlotte, quit.
From what I've heard, there was a little bit of, Trump, we should be backing President Trump. There are allies. What's Keir Starmer doing? but
Huh.
he's laid it out so effectively and so almost legalistically, like you would expect from somebody with a law background, that I think we're coming around to the idea that we are doing what we need to do as a reasonable ally, a decent partner with lots of connections around the world, with
Right.
interests in the Middle East, with partners who are involved, and just, with people who really don't want to become targets either. Thank you very much. I mean, we've already seen potentially an attack on a synagogue in the US in
Yeah.
Michigan. But
Yeah.
I hasten to add, we know nothing. At
Right.
least as we came on to broadcast, we know nothing. We know a man in a car
Right.
collided with a synagogue. The synagogue security shot him dead,
Yeah.
and the car caused a fire at the synagogue. And
And
that is all we know.
we had a shooting at a university as well today.
I saw that one, but I didn't get any details.
I haven't
But I
either.
watched ABC News, MSNBC, and it was all ABC were telling us the importance of the bomb squad being able to retrieve the incendiary device from his car in one piece without having to do a controlled explosion in case they was any evidence. This was their hypothetical incendiary device.
That
This
we
is
don't even know it's
following
there.
on from there might be an incendiary device, and they literally went straight down the rabbit hole to how we
That is
needed
so
to defuse the
sad.
fucking thing.
Oh my.
Wow. They grabbed that and ran, huh?
Yeah. Well, suffice it to say, I think we're pretty clear about what the UK position is. I have got some written crib notes, and
And I had one more thing I wanted to add.
I have got some information on what we've actually done. So we've sent some ships, some helicopters, some this and that, and who's doing what in terms of the
Y'all
UK.
did?
Huh?
Y'all sent ships and helicopters?
Yeah.
To where?
To the region.
Really?
Yeah. But not quite what Donald Trump thinks we're sending.
But
So
why?
I will, after we finish, I will scan and post my crib notes, just so we've all got a list of how many of this, that, and the other we have sent, and what we're doing, and how involved we actually are.
Now, what I understand,
why anybody would support this when he can't even tell anybody why we're doing
well, okay, there are parts of Europe that are reachable by Iranian missiles.
Yes,
There are allies all through the region to
Turkey,
the UK
springs to mind.
and all of us. And that's why I understood those things were being sent by your government. It wasn't
more
to
defensive?
join the United States in bombing Iran.
Said
It
No,
was
defensive.
because
still
there's a necessity to defend.
It's still 100% defensive for any troops we've got in the region,
Gotcha.
and any
Good.
allies, and also any British citizens who happen to have just gone for some winter sun in Dubai, and now
Right.
they're like,
And-
I don't
and
know how to
boom.
get home.
Literally boom.
Yeah. So yeah, it's still completely defensive.
I had
I was
one
looking at how far Iran could strike with their weaponry, and I learned it was about 2,000 to 3,000 kilometers, which miles wise puts you in England kind of out of the reach zone. But there are a lot of places that they can reach, and that's if that information is accurate.
Yeah.
So, and that information, by the way, will be in the list of sources if anyone online here wants to read more about that part of it. But just I was
Perfect.
wondering because I wanted to make sure Mama was safe.
Thank
Right.
you, my
Can't
darling.
anybody bombing our Midnight Mama Cafe?
No, we'll still keep going. We'll be like in the Blitz. We'll keep going just with the lights off.
Yeah, right. We'll use flashlights.
Yeah. Laura, you wanted to add.
So I had, in my little detective excursion, trying to find a motive behind this, and I remembered hearing about the Poly Market thing.
Oh yes.
Okay, and I investigated a little further, and what other reason does Donald Trump need to do anything at all ever? Money, right? It's all about money. It always is about money. He's not going to do anything that doesn't make him money. So here's the thing on this poly market trade. This poly market trade was entered on December 22nd, I think it was, of 2025, that U.S. would strike Iran by February 28th.
No, there wasn't.
That was the bet. That
Shut the front door. Did you know that, Summer?
Well, I only did because my good friend, I told her she should be a detective when she told us that information.
I mean,
that is high praise coming from a former 2 decades detective.
So, I mean, so this that basically is saying December 22nd, somebody knew he was going to drop a bomb on the 28th of February.
You know, I'm not even angry that they would make money out of misery.
Yeah,
I mean, the fact that they could start all this to make a few bucks.
Right. I mean, there may be other motivation, but he sure as hell going to make sure he cashes in on it, right? But it doesn't make sense because we were in negotiation talks with them, and they actually say they were willing to give up their enriched uranium to us.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like they were willing to do what they needed to do to avoid.
In addition to posting my notes, I will find the clip from the Rachel Maddow show where she talks through all the potential justifications that are really going on behind the scenes and what they're really saying, because it's such a good, hey Laura, it's such a good what's the word where you bring it all together. It's such a good bringing it all together. Summary. Thank you. It's such a good summary that there's nothing there to improve upon, and I don't believe in reinventing the wheel.
I love that woman. Anyways,
can I tell you about the word summary?
Yes.
You know, when you're a kid and you're in school and you're not paying attention, you're sort of daydreaming because it's so boring and you just can't because, you know, ADD and all. And you know, your name is Summer. And the teacher says, now summarize, and you wake up and you're wondering, what the heck just happened? Because you think you've been called on, right?
Oh, God.
Like in a little bit of levity.
I can feel your pain as somebody who every time there was a trace of something or you had to trace something or get your tracing paper out.
Right.
I'm awake. But I think, Laura, you will never understand our pain.
I don't think I will. No. But I can enjoy it.
Well, ladies, we're coming up to 10 minutes before the hour, and I wondered if we all had points of light to share, and just like 5 minutes each, because I found a fabulous quote on the Twitter or on the threads, I can't remember which right now, from a British person explaining why we're not best keen on the mango moron. And I thought I'd use that to finish off instead of a prayer, because it is quite prayerful. So do you guys have anything that you can share with us to raise our spirits a little?
Summer, go ahead. I need to find my book.
One of the most important things for me from a point of light perspective, looking back through my career in policing, and especially when I did the sex offender investigations and things like that, I ended up in treatment for PTSD and all of that afterwards because of the nature of some of my cases. Yeah. And one of the things that you learn in all of that is that you need to let out the steam and you need to learn different ways of doing that. And one of the things that I write about in my book was my journey of healing. I don't just write about all of the things that I experienced in terms of police officer, although I do tell lots of stories. Lots and lots of stories. And it's interesting because I worked in Toronto, so it was a very busy place. But then I get into, you know, what's going on in the world and how all of us need to, as individuals, make sure we take care of ourselves and let out the steam. And what I've talked to my good friends here about doing is starting a podcast at the Promise. We haven't decided on a name yet, And what we would like to do is get intake of questions from our potential audience members, and that we can then talk about all of those questions and answers and give all of our perspectives so that people get a chance to vent. They get to hear their voice, even if we can't have them all on. We might be able to have some people on to have a voice heard, and then we can all offer our ideas and support, and we can actually read through the chat so that all of the ideas and that are coming forward, we can get to that person. There's a few reasons why that's a point of light. It just lets the pressure out instead of getting inundated by all of these podcasts that are important. They tell us what we need to know, but there's a lot of them, and we are almost in a rat race of podcasts now.
Yeah.
We need to let out what we're experiencing. We need to let out what we're thinking and what we're doing. And I've learned a lot of different ways of doing that over the years since that treatment that I had for PTSD. So I'm hoping that we can get that going, and it can be a point of light for everybody, and especially those of us who come and watch all the time to Mama's podcast, because I think it's really important. Really, really good people, and we want to keep strong so that we can be resilient to whatever we have to face.
Absolutely. That is a wonderful point of light. And will you promise us that when things are at a stage where you can tell us more about them, you'll come back on? So when the book's ready to go, you'll tell us more about the book. Share with us your vision for the promise, because obviously I know some of it, but when you're ready, I'd really love it if you could share it with the people who end up in the cafe.
You can go to the www.thepromiseecc.com. I have a couple of posts if you want to check out my post, and you can go right to my site and read through some of the materials there. I do talk about some of what I'm talking about, but some of what's in the book is in the book, if you know what I mean.
Don't you have some of it on your Substack? Have you?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You have links to your website from your Substack?
I do. Yeah, if you go to my post, you can get there several different ways. There's several different links to articles that are in my blogs. The other thing is, on the site, you can actually engage with me with questions and answers, and you can kind of vent there too. And you can let me know if some of those suggestions or ideas that you have I can bring to light on our podcast. So it's the several different forms of communication, because that's really important. And if you can read through kind of what my position on things are, you will get there if you read through some of those blogs.
I love that. Thank you so much, Summer. And Laura?
I want to read, it is my favorite paragraph out of the big book. It's gotten me through so much, and it reminds me that we are all really right where we're supposed to be in this moment.
Would that be the wonderful big book of Alcoholics Anonymous?
It would be.
One of my favorites.
And this is page 449. Does that ring a bell? I don't even know if they've renumbered these pages by now. I don't even know if they still. I mean, it used to be back in the day, you said page 449, everyone knew what you were talking about, but they may have renumbered the pages, so I don't know. But you can see.
Well loved.
I found that shamrock at treatment one day.
Aww.
And yeah, so.
That's beautiful.
And it goes like this. And acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. When I'm disturbed, it's because I find some person, place, thing, or situation, some fact of my life unacceptable to me. And I can find no serenity until I accept that person, place, thing, or situation as being exactly the way it's supposed to be in this moment. Nothing, absolutely nothing happens in God's world by mistake. Until I could accept my alcoholism, I could not stay sober. Unless I accept life completely on life's terms, I cannot be happy. I need to concentrate not so much on what needs to be changed in the world as on what needs to be changed in me and in my attitudes.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
Yeah. It always reminds me, one thing is comforting because it reminds me you're right where you're supposed to be.
Mhm.
And then it reminds me to look inside. When I think that everything out here is doing this to me, it helps me remember, you know.
Yeah, one of the great psychologists referred to it as loci, because that's the plural of locus, of control. When you feel like that everything is an external locus of control, everything's being done to you. But when you manage to find that internal locus of control, you can take your life back and
Right.
do something about it.
Yeah. So freeing, really.
I love that. Thank you very much. Would you like to hear this tweet? It was inspired by the question, why do some British people not like Donald Trump? Because apparently, this will shock you both, but apparently he's not that popular over here. Not a big fan.
Really? I don't
Yeah.
understand it.
No. So, Nate White, as in the colour, an articulate and witty writer from England, wrote the following response. A few things spring to mind. Trump lacks certain qualities which the British traditionally esteem. For instance, he has no class, no charm, no coolness, no credibility, no compassion, no wit, no warmth, no wisdom, no subtlety, no sensitivity, no self-awareness, no humility, no honour, and no grace. All qualities, funnily enough, with which his predecessor, Mr. Obama, was generously blessed. So for us, the stark contrast does rather throw Trump's limitations into embarrassingly sharp relief. Plus, we like a laugh. And while Trump may be laughable, he has never once said anything wry, witty, or even faintly amusing. Not once, ever. I don't say that rhetorically, I mean it quite literally. Not once, not ever. And that fact is particularly disturbing to the British sensibility. For us, to lack humour is almost inhuman. But with Trump, it's a fact. He doesn't even seem to understand what a joke is. His idea of a joke is a crass comment, an illiterate insult, or a casual act of cruelty.
Right.
Trump is a troll. And like all trolls, he is never funny and never laughs. He only crows or jeers. And scarily, he doesn't just talk in crude, witless insults. He actually thinks in them. His mind is a simple bot-like algorithm of petty prejudices and knee-jerk nastiness. There is never any underlying layer of irony, complexity, nuance, or depth. It's all surface. Some Americans might see this as refreshingly upfront. Well, we don't. We see it as having no inner world, no soul. And in Britain, we traditionally side with David, not Goliath. All our heroes are plucky underdogs. Robin Hood, Dick Whittington, Oliver Twist. Trump is neither plucky nor an underdog. He is the exact opposite of that. He's not even a spoiled rich boy or a greedy fat cat. He's more a fat white slug, a Jabba the Hutt of privilege. And worst, he is that most unforgivable of all things to the British, a bully.
Right.
That is, except when he's among bullies. Then he suddenly transforms into a snivelling sidekick instead. There are unspoken rules to this stuff. The Queensberry rules, spitting everywhere, sorry. The Queensberry rules of basic decency, and he breaks them all. He punches downwards, which a gentleman could never do.
Right.
And every blow he aims is below the belt. He particularly likes to kick the vulnerable or voiceless, and he kicks them when they're down.
Yes, he does.
So the fact that a significant minority, perhaps a third of Americans, look at what he does, listen to what he says, and then think, yeah, he seems like my kind of guy, is a matter of some confusion and no little distress to British people, given that Americans are supposed to be nicer than us, and mostly are. And you don't need a particularly keen eye for detail to spot a few flaws in the man. This last point is what especially confuses and dismays British people, and many other people too. His faults seem pretty bloody hard to miss. After all, it's impossible to read a single tweet or hear him speak a sentence or two without staring deep into the abyss. He turns being artless into an art form. He is a Picasso of pettiness, a Shakespeare of shit. His faults are fractal. Even his flaws have flaws, and so on ad infinitum. God knows there have always been stupid people in the world, and plenty of nasty people too. But rarely has stupidity been so nasty or nastiness so stupid. He makes Nixon look trustworthy and George W. look smart. In fact, if Frankenstein decided to make a monster assembled entirely from human flaws, he would make a Trump.
Right.
And a remorseful Dr. Frankenstein would clutch out big clumps of his hair and scream in anguish, "My God, what have I created?" If being a twat was a TV show, Trump would be a box set. Thank you very much, Nate White.
Very nicely done.
That made the internet for me
Nicely
today.
done. He covered all the bases.
Hey, Igorisa, welcome.
Igor just joined.
Oh, hey, Igor.
Hey, baby.
Catching us as we're winding up.
Yeah.
It's a crazy mess, and that's why we keep talking about it, because we're not going to let the mainstream media and the right-wing sycophants drown out what we see with our own eyes and hear with our own ears. And because when we do that, we can bring it back to points of light. We can bring it back to a place where we can look after each other and help us through the nonsense until it's not so crazy anymore. And I am so grateful to have Laura and Summer here in my life to help me navigate the nonsense.
Oh, and wouldn't it
We
trade?
feel the same way.
Honestly, I would do all this Trump nonsense again to get to meet you guys. Really.
I feel the
I feel
same.
that close to you now. And
Well,
y'all are such
ladies,
a gift.
I think we've got a better idea of how we feel collectively about what's going on, and we just got to look after each other.
I'll
That
also,
is
like I
true.
say, I'll post my receipts about the Poly Market and the numbers and everything.
Thank
Love
you.
you too, Chris.
And Summer, you will put up your stuff on your Substack, right?
Absolutely. So you can get all of
I'll
the
give you
different.
mine to put on yours if
sources.
that's okay.
Thank you. Yeah,
Mhm.
perfect.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, with that, now we've put the world to right, at least for Thursday. It's time the cafe was closed.
Close
Good
it
night,
down,
everyone.
baby.